Hey, so this is not an iPad Pro. This is a regular ass iPad, but I do have Procreate and obviously not an Apple Pen. What do you call this? Yeah, Apple Pencil. They're not compatible with the old iPads, that's my understanding. So I got a Bamboo, and this is what I'm going to be struggling with until I one day maybe eventually get the iPad Pro. But right now, I just want to kind of get a feel of what I'm doing with this, and we're gonna see what happens. This is my first time ever trying like digital sketching, so prayers up. I mean, it's not that serious. I think it's gonna end up okay. I watched a couple videos on how to do this, and I think I can manage. So this is gonna be a lady sipping a cup of hot chocolate or coffee or whatever brown hot beverage you drink during the holidays of your choice. I'm going to stop recording for right now because the reference I'm using is on Pinterest, and I'm using it on this phone, so I don't know if I could do these at one time. So far, I am seeing what the hype is all about. I'm curious to see how the actual Apple Pencil works because there is a little bit of a struggle. I got to press real hard to get my strokes down, but it's fine. It's fine. But it doesn't help my horrible habit of being extra heavy-handed in my other art because it's making me like really work. God, look at this camera quality. Can we just look? Can you look, you can see my dermis all up close. Yes, iPhone XR. I see you. What I like about this already is I can be as messy and ugly as I want to, and I can add another layer that's cleaner and keep adding as many layers as I want and then take away layers. Oh, at least that's what I've noticed. I've watched videos and read about it, so I like that feature because I don't like the messiness that goes with doing a sketch and then smearing things everywhere because you don't know what you just did. It's kind of awesome that I don't have to worry about that with this. See what's happening? I can't really go at angles, you know? I gotta press. There we go. All right, so here's the first layer. We're gonna see what happens with the second. I'm just gonna trying to make it cleaner on the second layer. First sketch. Oh, classy. Look at that gorgeous Alabama view. Your fave could never, right? Yes, they could. They just don't want to. All right, so good morning. Look, I hate this, okay? Bottom line. I don't like how it came out, but I wasn't expecting anything grand. What I did not expect was to be completely defeated by it. Like, I'm just so sick of drawing it. I'm going to start on something else. I'm over it. I was trying to be testing out, like, the purpose of this was to test out the features of Procreate, and I know there's way more. I just need to learn how to use it. So that'll be what I'll be focusing on in my next art ventures. if you will, if I may. So, for the sake of needing to move on with my day and my life, this is the finished product of whatever this is. A lady blowing on her coffee or her hot chocolate. I like the tree and the little man, the little gingerbread man, kind of, but a lot of things to learn. All right, so today was a federal holiday because it's a day of mourning for former President Bush. As you all know, he passed away this week. Since I'm here in Alabama, Montgomery, I took the opportunity to go on a civil heritage trail. I went with this lovely young lady who is not of my skin color. She's white, 24 years old, very sweet. It's a nice time. We went to the first Confederate White House. Then we went to the church where Martin Luther King was a pastor for 6 years. That was closed, by the way. It takes $7.50 tours in there, and I was kind of salty about that because I wanted to go inside the church. And we finished our little outing with the Rosa Parks Museum. What I loved about this young lady is that she was so curious and eager to know things because there's a lot of stuff about Black history that she was not aware about. We learned a lot about, obviously, Rosa Parks and her being the mother of the civil rights movement. During that tour, Emmett Till and Trayvon Martin were mentioned. She didn't know about either. So her assignment tonight is to research more about Emmett Till. It's nice when someone is open to learning about a culture they are not familiar with and just know how to listen and just try to understand where someone else is coming from and their perspective. It's just really a plus. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and smash this mercilessly, and I'll get back to y'all a little bit later. All right, so this is about to take a turn for the darker, but Alabama's Alabama. The reason I'm even in Alabama right now, in Montgomery, I'm here for work. I had a course I had to take, is required for my job. So I decided to take advantage of where I was and research some of the history, go on a few trails that you saw earlier in the vlog. But the main thing that really, really resonated was my trip to the Legacy Museum. This place is run by the Equal Justice Initiative, and this museum focuses in on Black history in the South, but primarily Alabama, and it covers everything from enslavement to mass incarceration today. So needless to say, I went in and left there with a sense of resentment, really. You know, your typical feelings of anger and disgust, all those feelings. But I felt like it was a fulfilling experience because the way they built this museum and put the exhibition together is just so well done. You walk in there, and the first thing that hits you right in the face is the fact that this museum is literally the warehouse where they held the slaves, the very ground where they stood and suffered. That really got to me because they have all these documentaries and time lapses by this artist named Molly Crabapple, outstanding artist, but I'm not going to get too far off the subject. They have all these narrations and visuals that really capture you. They don't waste any time notifying you that you are actually standing on the very ground where slaves were held captive. Then you proceed a little bit further into the museum, and they have these cages of holograms. They're the ghosts of the slaves talking to you. Some asking you where their children are, some telling you about their experiences. The one that hurt me the most was the first one. There's a woman asking us if we've seen her children, recognizing that we're not a buyer or something like that. And at the end, there are two little boys in chains asking if we've seen their parents. And there's another one with them singing hymns, singing spirituals, and it was incredible. It gave me goosebumps. Gives me goosebumps talking about it now. Then you get to the main portion of the museum, and they document the lynchings, the recorded lynchings, that is. Thousands upon thousands. I'm sure there's even more, but these are the ones that were documented. They have a map of all the lynchings that took place in America, at least the ones that were recorded, like I just said. It was this massive sculpture of this Black man holding this cloth over his body, and it was just exquisite. I'm not sure what it represented. I wish I'd looked more into it. But they go very much in depth about the lynchings, and that really, really got to me because they have these graphic photos. I mean, people being burned to death, being lynched. And that's why I'm drawing this today, because this is the image that stuck out to me the most. Just the feet of this man being lynched. That's not the whole photo. The rest of the photo had white people standing and gazing in absolute awe. They were just so happy to see it, unbothered, because, we weren't human to them. So seeing something like that was like watching something at the circus, and they're completely entertained by it. And even to this day, it's disgusting because, this stuff only happened. This is only 60 years ago. This is not super long ago, contrary to what people want you to believe or feel. There are people still alive who can talk about that, people who experienced that not long ago. This is our history, and it's not stuff that's covered in textbooks. And that's by design, I'm sure. Photos were not allowed, and one thing I was fascinated with was the patronage. The patronage was, I have to say, it was majority white, and I liked seeing that because it shows that there are people out there who want to learn about our culture, learn about something outside themselves, and they're interested in the history all around. I saw a woman taking notes in this little orange leather-bound book, and immediately I regretted not bringing my moleskin with me so I could take notes or at least draw what I'm seeing, because, again, we couldn't have cameras or videos or anything like that. And I'm actually glad we couldn't, because I could take everything in and really focus on what I was seeing and what I was absorbing and experiencing. But I did take note mentally that from now on, when I go on these types of outings to galleries or exhibits or museums, I'm going to be taking a small book of some sort with me so I can draw and capture it, especially when they don't allow cameras. Another thing that really stuck out to me, they had these jars of soil, collections of soil throughout the museum, and the soil is from the lynching sites. They do this to account for those who were hung and even those who were not documented, if I'm remembering that correctly. You can go to the EJI.org site and find more details on this. they cover it way better than I do, obviously. And this is not sponsored or anything. I just feel like this is something that more people need to know about. Another lynching they covered was that of John Hartfield. Look that one up. I won't go into detail, but it was, to say despicable is still an understatement because the things they did to that man when he was hanging. I won't go all the way into it. Look it up, John Hartfield. And that brings me to my next point. After my time in the museum, another portion of the tour is the National Memorial for Peace and Justice. It was so riveting and spellbinding that it deserves to be its own short film. I'm not going to mash it up or edit it into this vlog with a bunch of chattiness and regular stuff. It deserves to be its own. So I'm going to finish the vlog here, and then I'm going to upload a separate short film that is just the National Memorial for Peace and Justice. It's silent. There's no music, no talking. All you hear is what is around you, or around me, rather. So please stay tuned for that. Make sure you watch this vlog before you watch that video. That way you can really understand where I'm coming from with it. Also, no worries. The next Vlogmas will be way more upbeat. I'm going to bring you back. So just stay tuned. Thank you again for joining me. I'll catch you in the next video.